Hello and welcome to Wheel Thing TV. I'm Dave Canole. This week we're checking out the 2016 Audi Q7 with the 3 litre 200 kilowatt 600 newton metre diesel V6. Audi's brand new Q7 being subtly redesigned for the new model year. LED driving lights, LED lights all abound. A little bit more soft look around the outside. Actually looks smaller than the previous model, but it's still quite a big unit, that's for sure. Very smooth profile, a very handsome looking profile. LED lights in the rear as well. And it looks very tidy indeed. It's a very luxurious and well upholstered cabin. We do get some fine suede on the doors, some wood trim, lovely leather seats with proper creases in them. Electric, of course. Looking absolutely superb. You get the LCD screen on the driver's display as well. And in regards to the starting procedure, out of the dash she comes. Audi stayed tried and true to using old style buttons, and you know what, they work just fine. These are touch sensitive as well. You don't actually need to move them up and down in order to see what they're doing, but in order to select, in this case if we want to go to a full synchronized area, we just need to flick it up. 4-zone, one for the driver, one for the passenger, and one each for the left and right rear behind the driver and the passenger themselves. Dials, simple. Temperature, simple. The driver select buttons here are exactly the same as what you'd access via the jog dial. So if we press one of these little buttons there, for example, it'll actually come straight up onto the screen, whereas if we go to the menu system on here, and it comes up with those options, we flick around to car and we've got those same examples in there as it stands. The driver has access to almost a computer style trackpad just in here, and in regards to the gear selection lever, it's great, it's simple. It's just a rocker motion: forward, back, reverse, drive, park, auto brake, and of course the auto switch off. We've got a little storage area just here as well. Also a sliding armrest, which is not the best idea because it actually feels like sometimes when you hop in and it slides, your arm falls off. But underneath we do have a little storage locker. As you can see, we do have a range of driving modes, as we mentioned, and all operated by that little jog dial down in front of the gear selection lever. And as you can see, we've got the opportunity to go a little bit more off-road with the capability of the cars, but really this for me has been the one that's been most suitable. But we are currently on a little bit of a gravel track, so we'll stick it into lift and off-road, and as you can see, the car is actually physically moving itself up and down. It's quite a weird suspension on this this car, the air suspension doing the trick. And as you can see also, it's adjusting itself there. And we'll be up to maximum ride height any moment now. So let's see what we can do. And as we're travelling along, you can see the screen adjusting as the car tilts and moves along. One of the more interesting, unique features of the Audi Q7 is the electronic adjustment for the rear of the car. It actually raises or lowers it to help you load things or take things out, but also has electric seats, and as you can see, they're currently folded in. If we hit one of these buttons just there, yes, you actually do have to hold the button too, which is a nice little safety feature there. Same with the other one on the other side. And if you want to lower those, pretty simple, just hit the reverse button and they fold quite nicely into their own little booth in the floor. Some wonderfully appointed seats in the back as well. We've got our lever here to actually fold that down, and then here, press that down and lift up. So you can actually get yourself some extra cargo room once you've got these seats folded out flat. And again, you've got your raise and lower buttons for the rear seats as well. You wouldn't believe how comfortable this car is to drive, considering the sheer physical size of it. the varying suspension setups, the changes to the engine mapping and the transmission as well. It's quite stunning. It feels much more nimble, much more lithe, much more flexible. It has more ability than you'd expect from such a big car. The acceleration, once you're underway, we're sitting on freeway speed at the moment. I know that I can punch it and be very illegal very quickly, but that's the flexibility of the engine as well. But overall, it's an incredibly smooth package. The suspension really just irons out any imperfection in the roads, whether they're just the normal little ripples, or whether you've got those little speed humps, or the cat's eyes, the reflective cat's eyes you have on the road. It just isolates those. You know that they're there, but they're forgotten so quickly. It's stunning. With the changes to the drive that you have with our Eco and Comfort, you can certainly feel the difference once you've selected those. But overall, it's a very unusual car to drive because it's not what you'd expect from something so big. It really is almost sports car in its grip, almost sports car in its handling, almost sports car in the way that it will bring a smile to the driver's face. Although the Q7 is more than capable of handling a little bit of serious off-road work, and I guess to explain upon that, not the bigger lumps and bumps that something like a Land Cruiser that we tested recently would be able to do. But we're on a bit of a gravel track at Mount York, out near Mount Victoria, on the other side of the ranges from Sydney. And it's a nice little piece of the world out here, very beautiful spot, and a nice little gravel road to give it an idea of what it's like to be out on a little bit of dirt at the very least. Just checking for traffic, of course. Safety is always the first paramount in these regards. But out on the tarmac, it's just an absolute beautiful drive, the Q7. That 3-litre diesel, that 600 Newton meters of torque, that comes in so easily at such a low rev point at around 2000 RPM. The handling of the car, it feels a lot smaller than the actual physical size of the car, which is really quite an engineering achievement on the part of Audi and of course its sister companies to be able to make it do so. It handles really well. It is still a little bit disconcerting when you feel the electronic driver aids kicking in, and it's to do with the cameras that are on the outside of the car, just reading the sides of the road and adjusting the wheel as you go. It's not quite autonomous driving because you do have a couple of situations where the cameras can't see the markings, or at a certain speed will lose track of where the markings are. So of course the driver still needs to be in control, and that's going to be a major issue here in Australia, more specifically because of the quality of our roads and the quality of the markings that we're looking at. But acceleration wise, it'll get up and go, no problems at all. You've got 200 kilowatts to play with at the top end of the rev range. But the real major point about this car is just how nimble it really is, and how it adapts so quickly to you as a driver. And of course, having the various driver modes makes it so much easier to deal with. We're in dynamic at the moment, so it's a little bit more of a sporty sort of feel. But compared to other modes, I guess, dynamic in this case really is the preferred one, whereas comfort just doesn't really excite me terribly much. And you know, it's just one of those things that a driver has a preference, and in this case dynamic for me in the Q7 really is the one that seems to fit the car and my driving style the best.
The Audi Q7 is one of the most complete cars that I've driven of recent times, and I say that because it has a couple of things that appeal to me specifically. Touchscreens are great, but I think they should be limited to the kind of cars that need them, such as the Tesla. This particular car goes back to buttons, rotary dials, those kind of things. Simplicity, and it works. On-road, absolutely sensational. Off-road, look, it's not going to be an off-roader, but in certain circumstances, it's just fine. There's plenty of room, there's lots of gadgets to play with, but above all, it's just a nicely, well-rounded, well-thought-out car. Check it out at audi.com.au. And for A Wheel Thing TV, thanks for watching. I'm Dave Knoll.